I can feel the power again. Comes flowing back in.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for.
Yeah, exactly, but it's good. Hey, good to see
No
you, Peter.
immigration too.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, the raffle is open. If you haven't come by the raffle ticket. Come and get it. The pot's, I don't know, $600-700. Let's do it.
Life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if we can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood and sisterhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope so.
So I was here, so I was sort of pretending like, I was introducing Bruce over there and doing a little bit of a shtick there. Well, one thing we will have you do is, so this goes into a reading seat library, and so we always have the speakers end up signing a book that we donate to the library.
Awesome.
How are you, Angela? What's that? I'm doing great, thank you. You're right there.
Okay, sorry. Oh, you even get your own birthday cake and everything.
That's right.
That is so cool.
All right, they got another minute.
I'm Rene Gonzalez.
Hi, Angela Moore.
Hi, nice to meet you. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. Last month, but yes.
That's okay.
That's all right.
It's
We're
so good to have a
celebrating
birthday
it.
all month,
Yes.
right? Right?
The birthday month.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
My birthday's in July too, so it's just
Okay,
like
nice.
You just did mine's the 13th.
Okay.
Birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Yep. I think there's a lot of birthdays in July.
Yeah, there.
Yeah.
Actually, it was kind of fun because last week when I was up here and I said, I do want to give a shout out for a special birthday, and it's not mine, because on the 14th of July, my mom would have turned 100. So, I mean, she's hadn't been with us
Right,
for the last
but
7
still,
years.
but
Yeah, but it
100.
was a good shout out.
Yeah.
So.
Which way is the rough?
Hey, I got it right this time. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our guests, and welcome to the greatest Rotary Club in the state of Arizona. Now, past District Hank might debate that a little bit, but, what stays in our house, we'll just leave it at that. So, I do want to start off with a moment of silence. Unfortunately, we seem to be having a few too many of these days. The first announcement I'd like to make is Richard Rowley's wife, Jean, just recently passed away. Diane Medeiros' mother passed away this past weekend. And Robin Stoddard's son-in-law has just passed away. So if we could have a moment of silence. Thank you. I'd like to have Matthew Gasperi come up. He joined us in May of this year, 2022. He's with Tucson Federal Credit Union, University of Arizona, Grand Canyon University, for the pledge and the song of the Star-Spangled Banner.
Hello, everybody. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now, for your own benefit, please join me in singing the Star-Spangled Banner. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and
And next up for our inspiration, Dot Kret is okay. There she is. Dot's been with us since. You know, past presidents are always trying to, delay the schedule here. So, Dot, take it away. You want us to sit or stand?
Hi. Oh, you can sit. Sit. Don't stand up for me. It's okay. This way I'm taller. Okay. Sit. The little house. All right. Our club is so remarkable. With members active and retired, we help make this world a better place. We truly are inspired. Service above self. That's our goal. We have many an unsung hero. Today, I want to introduce you to someone who will make you want to cheer. 7,000. Yeah, 7,000. You heard that. 7,000 families have been lifted out of poverty as a result of the vision, the passion, and the efforts of our member, Prodip Dutta. While he was a geology professor at Indiana State University, he conceived of, implemented, and still supports a microloan program in his native India. It is managed by a group of monks, and Prodip meets with them annually. Through his efforts, loans of about $200 are given to people to start businesses and otherwise improve their communities. Over the many years he has done this, he has helped more than 7,000 families lift themselves out of poverty. Pretty inspirational, huh? Are you inspired? All right. So, let's give a hearty hip hip hooray to our fellow Rotarian. We are grateful for his service and so proud to be his friend. Thank you.
Okay, let's enjoy some fellowship. We'll bring it back in about another 15 minutes.
Hey folks, if you haven't got your raffle tickets yet, I'll sell them to you during the lunchtime. So come on over. We're over $600. Come on over, get your last chance, get raffle tickets.
So I've heard, inevitably, there's some times where all of a sudden you have a speaker that like literally has to cancel at the last minute. So, no, that's awesome to know.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to let you know, I didn't know if it was appropriate, but I gave a presentation at the Old Pueblo Rotary yesterday, and I thought, I should be able to do this at my own club if needed.
Right.
So
No,
I just
that's
wanted to
great.
let you know that.
Thank you for that.
Well, I'm at a fall March 11th.
Okay.
And got a brain bleed. She's never in the same city.
Okay.
She's completely bedridden.
Do you go? Do they have like a night conference? Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'd say around 5 days.
Wow.
Which actually was nice as well. But yeah, I joke about it. You know that Bob Hogan, he was the last president.
And you got Houston?
I was joking with the group. I sort of shared the different places. Thank God I didn't make mistakes in those.
Right.
And I got to go to Houston in June.
Oh, where is that in Australia? Sister and I, we did Australia, New Zealand.
Oh, nice.
Before
The only person
the summit.
one aired
We flew there and then did fly around. We did the, oral read, then we got
processed it, got her out.
and then over to the You'll love it.
His son was lost until he took over.
Between New Zealand and Australia. There's a 2-hour flight.
And he, as a doctor, he would call Sonny and text her. Stay in communication. I know, it's great. We visited her a couple weeks ago.
Poor guy. So the ocean scares you?
Immediately after the visit, he called Sonny.
Well, going on vacation, from my perspective. Yeah, nobody likes to going on vacation. Yeah, is usually better. Turbulence-wise. Unless you're going through a hurricane. They'll go around that. I've always had good luck. Take care of
Barbecue lighter. Right.
Yeah, I mean, people are spending, high teens to, $35 a month for, 1,100 square foot. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. I know Charlotte does the indoor ride. Here you can get rides in it. Welcome back, Rotarians. I hope you've been enjoying your time at the table. I'm excited to announce our speaker this afternoon is Rene Gonzalez, who's the CEO of Long Companies. Long Companies is comprised of Long Realty, Prosperity Home Mortgage, Agave Title, and Long Insurance. They've been based, as I think everybody in here knows, they started in 1926 here locally. What did I forget, Dorena? Oh, yeah, Chris. Yeah, that's it. Chris, take it away.
Sorry, Renee.
It's okay.
Yeah, we'll give you glory here in just a moment. All right, you're fined. So visitors from other clubs, our past district governors, please stand up and say hello to Hank Husking. There you are, Hank. Sorry. From Old Pueblo Rotary, say hello to Ivan Russell. Hi, Ivan. And from the Catalina Club, say hello to Bob Grady, who's the assistant governor. Hi, Bob. Guest of Bob Logan, say hello to Steve Copen. Hey, Steve. Guest of Monty Clausen, Joni Clausen. Hey, Joni. Guest of West Wiggins, Deborah Knox. Hi, Deborah. And another guest of West, say hello to Katrina Os. Hi, Katrina. And guest of Judy Kigi, say hello to Rick. Hi, Rick. And guest of Doug Lowell, say hello to Liz Lowell. Hi, Liz. And guest of Rich Kenny, say hello to Dwayne Graves. Hi, Dwayne. Guest of Bruce Richardson, Michael Manny. Hi, Michael. And guest of Jason Gravich, say hello to Eric Weiss. He's back there. And guest of Mike Anderson, say hello to Levi Anderson. Hi, Levi. Man, where did those jeans? I mean, you are so much better looking than the other Anderson. That's a bravo. All right, that's all the gifts that I have. Now, take it away, Bruce.
Don't worry, I have about another 48 weeks to be able to get this down. So it's coming. So as I was saying, with Renee being the CEO of Long Companies, she's a Nebraska native. She got her degree in Nebraska in business with an emphasis in finance and human resources. She ended up joining Long Companies in 2002 to oversee their mortgage operations, and in 2004 actually did the startup of Long Mortgage Company. She served as the president of that new division before moving in 2009 into a role as executive vice president. So she was overseeing mortgage, title, and insurance at that point in time. In January 1st of last year, 2021, she was promoted to CEO to oversee the leadership and strategic planning for all of Long Companies, including brokerage, mortgage, and insurance. So please help me to welcome Rene Gonzalez.
All right. Good morning. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And I know you guys have known Bruce a long time, but I've worked with him a long time as well. So I'd love to hear stories anytime you can. I'm sure you do. So I am here today to just give you a little bit of insight on what's going on in the real estate world today. As you probably read in the newspaper, it's always a topic of conversation. And what I want to hope that we can get out of today is that there's a lot of things that are national. National statistics help us a lot, but real estate is local. It is definitely every market, and all of you are from probably different areas where you grew up, where you lived, and everything is just a little bit different. So as we will go through, and I've got my slides up here, as we go through, just remember that I'm going to talk about some national statistics, but we're also going to go all the way down to neighborhood statistics, because not only are we local, but we also, every neighborhood, your neighborhood that you live in might be different than the neighborhood that's about a mile down the street, depending on what's going on in the area. And I think that that's critically important for all of us to remember. So, as we know, real estate is definitely a local market. But let's look at some of the national statistics because we have to start somewhere. And as you know, the real estate market in the last 2 years has been a very big part of the economy. It helped us get through the pandemic in a lot of ways, and a lot of people made decisions on where they wanted to live based on what was going on in the world as we know it. Then, this year, we've had some significant changes. In fact, just in the last couple months, we've had some significant changes, with inflation being the highest that it's been in a long, long time, and interest rates. Interest rates follow inflation, so when interest rates change, that means the market's going to change just a little bit. So, nationally, right now, we have seen a slow move down in the amount of sales. So this chart gives you just an example. It's really hard to read, and I understand that, but I wanted to show the trajectory of the years that have gone past, because we aren't down. It's not like we were up here and we're now way down here. It's just a slow trend in a downward direction. So sales were down in April, 3.4% nationally. And from a year ago, 8.6%. I just pulled the same numbers last night when I was getting ready to talk today, and we're running nationally about 4%. So again, it's not 10% like some people want you to think, and we'll get into where we're at around here as well. This is local, and this is through June. These numbers are through June, so just 2 to 3 weeks ago. Tucson Metro, June of 22, we are down 14.5% from the prior month. So that's the shift that we're feeling, right? The shift is happening rather quickly, but it's not as bad as everybody thinks it is. In regards to year over year, we're from June of last year to June of this year, 22%. Okay? But year to date, it's only about 5% down in the overall market. And there's some places that are still up as we look at the local statistics. This is Phoenix, because I always like to look at Phoenix because I think Phoenix, we usually follow Phoenix, not at the same trajectory, but Phoenix usually gets some things first. Well, really, California, and then Phoenix, and then us. That seems to be kind of the way that things happen in the real estate world. So in Phoenix, in June, we're down 7.5% in total sales prior month, and 21% from last June to this June. So year to date, we're running at about 8.5%. Again, not a horrible market, really getting back to a normal, what I would call a normal market. So let's talk a little bit about buyer trends, because I can tell you, has any of you tried to buy a house in the last 2 years? Anybody? Was it difficult? That's good. Yeah, that's awesome. So the amount of listings that have been in the market is very, very low, and we'll go into that. So buyers have had a hard time finding their dream home, right? Because the house goes on the market and it's there for about 2 hours. And right? And then there's like 10 to 15 to 20 offers. And you get into the point of you're going back and forth, and do you really want to do that? So then you get out of the market and you say, I'm just going to go rent, which we'll talk about a little bit later as to why you don't. That's probably even in my world, that's even a worse decision that you made, because rent is up significantly. But buyers got weary. They got upset. They got frustrated, and they've continued to get out of the market. So if you look at properties that have gone under contract, which means that they're actually there is an offer on the house and we're getting ready to sell it. Okay, so if you look at that statistically, under contract in June of this year, we are down 10% from the prior month. So from May to June, 10%. From year ago, 15%. So year to date, we're running at 6%, which is not, again, it's not horrible. And in fact, what I'm hearing, I just was up at our Golden Ranch office this morning, which is up in Saddlebrook, Catalina, Saddlebrook area. And what the agents were telling me there was that if the house is priced right and it's in good condition, nobody really wants to do any work, there are still multiple offers coming in on houses. So it's just a matter of the expectations that are set with your seller, the seller at the time, and also what the buyer is looking for. A lot of buyers, I'm also hearing in the first-time home buyer market, are having to settle for maybe not their ideal home, but maybe a home that works for them so that they can get into a home and start building home ownership and start building wealth, and then in 2 to 5 years, buy that next home, because we'll be in a different market at that time and they will be able to look at something different. So that's something that we're seeing a lot of statistically. In Phoenix, we're running the same thing. This is under contract. We're about 8% under where we were last year at this time. So you can see that there is a trajectory downward, but not at a level. I was just looking, and if you look nationally, you'll hear, just yesterday I saw it in the news, that there's 5 markets that are down over 40% year over year, and it's the big ones. It's the Miamis, it's the LAs, it's all of those. The outer edge of the United States always moves first, and then we get it. So let's look at the supply trends, because one of the questions that I always get is, are we in a bubble? Is the bubble gonna burst? Because last year, year over year, last year, and we'll get into that, prices have risen. And when you say, is the bubble going to burst, what that means is, are we going to go through what we went through in about 10 years ago when the market, we had tons of foreclosures and people couldn't afford their homes and they were moving out, and we had a whole bunch of inventory just thrown on the market. Right? And that changed the trajectory of the way the market works. Well, that isn't happening today because of the appreciation that we've seen. Most people, and in Tucson, our average appreciation rate has been, in the last couple years, has been about 20%. Now that's way too high than a normal market. A normal market is 2 to 5. 2 to 5% appreciation every year is a normal market. We've been up over 20. So people that may have, maybe going through a rough time, like maybe they lost their job, maybe they're going through a situation where they would have had to go into foreclosure in other areas, they don't have to do that now because they can sell the home and have equity in order to get out of the home. So there isn't this, I don't feel that there's this huge supply that's going to be dumped on the market like we've had in the past. So you can look, this is our active inventory. So this is another thing that we look at. Active inventory on market means houses that are for sale in the MLS today, okay? And you can see this chart starts at 2017. So you can see we've been on a downward trend slowly, but we're not, and we've seen it uptick just in the last month, but we're not even close to what a normal market should be. A normal market should be where the house sits on the average days on market is about 60 to 90 days on market. Right now, we're still under 20. We're probably around 15 still. So there's still an inventory need. And that means that we still, we all know the supply and demand that we learned back in elementary or in junior high, right? If you've got supply and it's high or it's low, where we're at now, and you have the demand, prices are going to go up. That's just the reality of it, and that's what we're seeing here. So you can see our active inventory is still under. We are right around 2,000 houses on the market in the Tucson MLS. That's really, really low if you're still looking in the market. As far as Phoenix is concerned, I think it's important to watch. You can see there was a big uptick in Phoenix in the last month. But again, we're not even close to where we should be in Phoenix. So we've still got a lot of ways to go in regards to that. Okay, here's days on market. This is what I was talking about. You can see average days on market. This goes back to 2007. So you can see, again, we've had a slow downward trajectory, but we are right around 20 days on the market still. That's average. So some houses are on the market for 60 to 90. Some are on that market for an hour, literally. But there is that still that supply that we need. So if anybody wants to sell their house, call me. We'd love to help you. All right, let's talk about pricing, because I think that this is always something that's been comes up in questions. So our median sales price in Tucson right now, the upper line here is Phoenix, and the yellow line is Tucson. Right now we are sitting just under $380,000 average sales price. And you can see how that has gone up in the last 2 years. So the one thing that we're really aligned with our company is housing affordability. I think that we need to watch how we can make sure that there are houses that are affordable for people. We are still probably one of the most affordable places to live in, especially for the beautiful area that we have. But when a first-time home buyer who's graduating from college and has student loans and they want to buy their first home, and the average sales price is $380,000, that's a pretty big payment for them. So how can we help to solidify some down payment assistance and all of the things that our great city does in order to do that? In Phoenix, we're up almost $475,000 average sales price. So, and that's, again, average. When you look over the whole Phoenix metro, there's a lot of different areas of Phoenix. And so to be at that price point, that's a pretty high price point for somebody that's a first-time home buyer that wants to buy a home. So, so we're really watching that and trying to put together some great programs to be able to help consumers. Because we want them to be able to buy their first house. That's critically important, because if they can buy their first house, they can start to build wealth. And then they can buy their second house and their third and be in the real estate market and be able to continue to build that. This is the easiest and best way to build wealth. And we want our clientele and our younger generation to be able to do that. All right, everybody talks about interest rates, and so I couldn't get up here without talking about interest rates. Interest rates right now, actually this morning, as of this morning, a 30-year fixed interest rate is right around 6% on a conventional loan. If hopefully you all own a home, and hopefully you refinanced in the last 2 years, because you would have got around 3 to 4%. But I think what is important to realize is when I bought my first home about 28 years ago, my interest rate was 12%. And I'm sure we've all been there, right? So it's just a matter of looking at the historical data. If we take out the last 2 years, don't look at 20 and 21, and we look at 2019 to about 2012, interest rates were between 4 and 6%. And that is where the normal market is, and that's where we really should be, and we as a economy, and that's where we really want to be. So I'm happy, actually. I know that I'm happy that rates are around 6%, because it gives us the opportunity to continue to get back to a normal market, which helps all of us out. So, but we have seen a huge uptick, and that has a lot to do with inflation. And I could talk about interest rates all day long, but I'll bore you. So we won't talk. Oops, I skipped. So this is what I think is important for anybody that's looking at buying a home, or looking to do something with, if you have a grandson, granddaughter, mother, father that wants to buy a house. Average payment right now, with that average purchase price that I talked about in Tucson right now, is right around $2,000, principal and interest. That does not include taxes and insurance. That's just principal and interest based on the current interest rates. So that can be a lot of money for a first-time home buyer, $2,000 out of their pocket, and then. But I'll also end with where rental rates are, and that'll surprise you all. Phoenix, we're close to $2,600 on an average payment for a home. So we've got, luckily, we have some sister companies in California. Their average sales price is over $2 million, guys. So we're in a really good spot as far as where we're out to bring in some really great stuff. What I really want to end with is just that, as I said, and I know this is hard, I'll definitely get these slides out to everybody so that you can have access to them. But it really depends on which area of Tucson you're looking at. If you're looking at Sam Hughes, it's different than if you're looking at the Saddlebrook market, or if you're looking at Vail or Oro Valley, or because all of the neighborhoods are specifically different for supply and demand. Some people want to live in downtown and in Sam Hughes. Other generations want to live in Saddlebrook, and others want to live down by the U of A. So you can actually access all of this information on our website on longrealty.com. If you just go and put in a neighborhood that you want to, wherever you live in your neighborhood, you could put that in and it'll bring up all of the data about your neighborhood. But this one, for instance, is just Rancho Vistoso, just to give you an example of what's happened. So in Rancho Vistoso, between May of 2022 and June of 2022, we had a 40% decrease in the number of homes sold. And you can see the percentages sometimes scare you a little bit. You should actually look at the numbers, but it's just very eye-opening to see. But it's good if you're a seller and you're looking at, a lot of our agents are getting a little frustrated with sellers that want to sell their house now, and they're looking at what happened 3 months ago, and their neighbor sold their house in 5 days for this price, and now they think that they should get that same price and get it sold very quickly. And the market has shifted that much in the last 2 months. And so this is the data that our agents use to be able to show that unfortunately or fortunately, depending on if you're a buyer or seller, the market has changed that drastically. So that's just an example of Rancho Vistoso. Just want to show you Foothills, just to show the differences. Rancho Vistoso and Foothills are probably a whole 10 miles away from each other, but significant difference. Foothills is only down 21%, from 40% at Rancho Vistoso to 21 month over month. And then if you look even further down to Sam Hughes is down 17%. So it just all depends on the area of town that you're looking at, and also what's important, and are you a buyer or are you a seller? Because that ultimately does significantly change what your goals are. And then this is Rita Ranch, because I think Rita Ranch is actually up, which is, again, very interesting. They're up 32% month over month. Now that I take that as we've got a lot of people that want to buy. Rita Ranch is there's lots of families in Rita Ranch, and they probably want to buy before school starts. So we're seeing a big uptick in those movements. But it's just interesting to see the differences as you look as neighborhood to neighborhood. So I'm going to end with, I've got 2 minutes left, and I'm going to end with rents. Because a lot of people that don't want to get into purchasing a home, rent a home, right? Those are the two options. You either buy or you rent. Well, because of the uptick in all of the different nuances in real estate, the investors, any of you that are investors in this room, have a significant opportunity to make a lot of money because rents have gone up significantly. I have a friend, he's still my friend, that was a first-time home buyer, and he works at the U of A, wants to live close to the U of A, and he had a certain price point that he did, $250,000. He didn't want to go over that. He looked for 2 years, and luckily his lease was coming up at the end of May, and he was able to get under contract in April and close in May. If he wouldn't have closed in May, his rent on his 2-bedroom apartment was going up $500 a month, almost 70%. And his house that he's purchasing is going to be less principal and interest, and he had a good down payment, so no PMI. He's going to be paying less than what he would have been had he had rented. So these are the different. Now, Mesa's actually number 4 in the whole country as far as median sales rentals going up. It's gone up 25% month, over across the board. Tucson, we're up 22% from last year to this year. A 1-bedroom apartment right now, average, is close to $1,000 a month. So you can see why my whole goal is to get those people to buy a home so that they can start to build wealth, because one of our loan officers was talking to me this morning, and she said, rent is 100% interest. You want to know what the interest rates are? Rent's 100%. Because you don't get any, none of that money is coming back to you. You're not building any equity. At least at a mortgage interest rate of 6%, you're still building wealth, and you're still building equity, and you're still coming out in a trajectory where you can continue to build on your future. So with that, I ended almost right on time. Anybody have any questions that I can answer? Yeah.
I mean,
that it was very hard to get involved in a buy unless you were cash, and it seems to have developed a new industry of companies that will give you cash to buy a house. It's like a mortgage broker, I guess, but it seems like a whole new industry is developed that's probably going to fall apart here. Can you talk just briefly about that?
Yeah, a lot of the actually our mortgage company has that product. It's it's not giving you cash. It's at least ours isn't. There are probably some that will do that, but basically it's being able to buy the house with cash that you have, like in your investments or whatever it is. It's basically called a deferred mortgage payment. You buy it with cash, and then once you've bought it, we give you a loan at the interest rates that you at a normal market interest rate for the amount that you purchase it for, and you can put your money back in your investment. So that's the program that we have. It gives you the opportunity to buy cash, because it's easier for a seller to take a cash offer than it may be a loan. So that's the opportunity. But there are some companies out there that are doing, their internal, they're financing in themselves. And I don't know a lot about what those, but I would make sure your interest rate isn't considerably higher, because that's probably the way they're doing it. Yeah, exactly.
Bob over here has one more question for you.
Hi, Bob.
Hi there. What advice would you give to someone today who's interested in selling today or buying today?
All right. So I'll start with selling. Well, my advice would be both, similar but a little bit different. My advice would be you've got to work with a real estate professional. Just like you work with your doctor if you need something, or your financial analysis person that helps you put your financials together, you need to work with real estate, because the market is so different, and you've got to have. We have a lot of houses that literally are on the market for a day, and if your realtor doesn't know about it, you don't have the ability to buy that house. So as far as just specifically on the buy side, I would say stay in the market. Stay in the market. Stay in the market. You will find your house. Don't get discouraged. And you might have to settle for a little bit less than what you were thinking you would get. If you were looking for your dream home, for your first time home, you might want to look a little bit underneath that so that you can fix it up and make it your dream home. And just be ready for the fact that the inventory that you have available is what we have right now. And new construction is another way to go. I highly recommend looking at new construction, but it's 18 to 24 months out to get a new construction home. So depending on what a buyer is looking for, I would recommend that they do that. On the seller's side, be realistic with your expectations. You're not going to get the same sales price that you got 2 months ago. I'm sorry. That's just the market. It might change, it might shift, but for the most part, I don't see us. We've lost, as you can see, we've lost some price. Our average sales price hasn't really gone down. It's just a matter of in town. In fact, like you said, it's gone up, but it's just a matter of the expectations with the sellers thinking that it's going to continue to go up the 15 to 20%. It's just not. So being realistic about the expectations for your seller, I think, is critical.
Thanks, Renee,
All
for
right.
giving us the long and short of it
You're welcome.
in real
Thank
estate.
you.
Chris, that was good. How long did it take you to come up with that one? Okay, we have, as everybody knows, but our guests don't, we donate books to Reading Seed, and we have our speakers go ahead and make way for books. I keep saying Reading Seed. Like I say, another 48 weeks, I'm there. So our book, this is The Little House, which Renee has already signed. So thank you for that, Renee. And next up, we have some birthdays. First is Angela Moore. Her birthday was actually June 25th. She's been a member since 2014. She is an attorney in estate planning. Went to U of A, went to that school to the north, as well as University of Washington. But something you probably didn't know about her, and Dave, you need to pay attention to this, is she once flew to North Carolina to buy a car to drive it back to Tucson. She likes to drive, so Dave, next time Mike is buying a Corvette, she might kind of, play rock, paper, scissors for you to see who gets to drive it. So, Angela.
So I went online for Rotary Foundation and did an online donation. That made it slightly easier for Charlotte. Here's one for our local foundation, unrestricted. And then I also went on the TRVFA website and did a donation in honor of Jan Green, who's the past chair of the TRVFA committee and past volunteer for my committee. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Next up is Dave White. His birthday was on the 6th of July. Been a member since 2013. White Star Consulting, Tennessee Temple U, but something you did not know about him is he's been a bivocational minister for the past 30 years. But even more interesting than that is he started a vintage piano shop where he restored and serviced vintage pianos, player pianos, and Nickelodeons. So, Dave.
I even got to rebuild the Nickelodeon at the Ponderosa in Lake Tahoe. Wow. Cool. So 9 years ago, I had a breakfast with Dave Gallagher, and I said, Dave, you got to get me in the Rotary Club. And he didn't check me out and did it. So here I am. And the late, great Tom Andrews was my mentor. And boy, we miss Tom. And thank you, Tom, for your support. Hey, I just want to say it has been a great pleasure and privilege to serve alongside of you, every one of you. Some of you I've gotten to know a lot better than others, but it has been a great 9 years. I appreciate every one of you, and I'm so glad to be here. Look forward to the years to come.
And Dave, thank you for your check to the foundation as well. And last but not least, Diana Cannon. Her birthday was the 13th. Been a member since April of 2015. I think everybody knows with the Humane Society. But a couple of things that you did not know about her is she was actually one of the founders to help start the El Tour de Tucson. The other is that she was inducted into the Tucson Sports Hall of Fame as a result of being a 20-year director for the soccer youth shootout at Fort Lowell. So,
thank you. I have to thank Dr. Lisa Fogel and John Lewis for encouraging me to become a part of this wonderful group. So I want to share with you something that I found that resonated with me, and it's called Once Upon a Time. When window was just a square hole in a room, and application was something written on a paper. When keyboard was a piano, and mouse just an animal. When file was an important office material, and hard drive was just an uncomfortable road trip. When cut was done with a knife, and paste was done with glue. When web was a spider's home, and virus was flu. When apple and blackberry were just fruit. That's when we had a lot of time for family and friends. Thank you, my fellow Rotarians, for being my friend. for ride to end polio.
Thank you so much. Next, I would like to bring up our past district governor, Hank. She has a special presentation that she would be able to like to make.
So, this should have been done a month ago, but I was one of the lucky ones. I was one of the lucky ones who came home from Houston with my husband and got COVID. So it's a month down and we're back, and Anita gave me permission to go out and give them all the awards. And we checked to make sure that we were not going to be in the same room at the same time. But I am really very proud to present this award to this club, because even though Mark and Bruce are the leaders, you are the doers. And so some of you may remember that in order to get an award this year, you had to meet Shaker's Challenge. One was to increase your membership, which you did. One was to do something to empower women, which you did. One was to have a wonderful Rotary a Day service, which you did at the Triangle Y. And the other one was to do something to help the people in Ukraine. And I noted recently I got an email that said that you are a Silver Hero Club, which means that you've given $3,000 to Shelter Box, but the district went wild. And we gave $110,000 to Shelter Box in 21 and 22. So we sent all the 17 winners who got the award $100 to the annual fund in their club's name. And I know $100 is a drop in the bucket for you all. You have a legendary fundraising reputation. When I visit other clubs, they say, yeah, but that Tucson club. Yeah, but that Tucson club. So I found these, and I just thought the bright lights in District 5500 should be recognized. So if you will open it. Yeah, see, this is so we don't lose things.
That's a good idea.
Did it work? No, it made
No.
it worse. Okay, we're going to get there. Where's the person with the Boy Scout knife? Oh, no. There we go. Separate it. There we go. All right.
Oh, how cool is that?
So now, if we can, does anybody know where the lights are? Wouldn't that be fun to turn the lights out? Because this is a lantern.
We can go camping.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, how
So, this is for your inductions, your Paul Harris's, your socials. And so you were the winner, but you are the keeper of the flame.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you both.
Thank you, Hank. I just want to say, you know, we asked everybody this past year, and I know it was difficult with our move and stuff, to just do a little bit more. Thank you.
And how was that for a nice segue for Paul Harris? So, Mr. Logan.
First of all, I want to say thank you for the presentation. That was fantastic. And I asked her if she went to the University of Nebraska. She did. And I just learned this, as a football coach. I never knew that the N stood for knowledge. All right, here we go. I'm really happy to have Steve Keppen as our Paul Harris honoree. Most of you don't know him, and you're going to learn about him here in a second. The Paul Harris Fellow Recognition is named for the founder of Rotary International. This honor was established to express appreciation for contributions to Rotary Foundation as well as to support the ideals of Rotary International. Today, we honor Steve Keppen, who is a very close friend to the Rotary Club of Tucson during the Bob Logan reign of terror and the COVID-19 nightmare. Steve grew up in Mundelein, Illinois, on a 10-acre farm with his mom, dad, and 2 older brothers. Steve had an interest in music early on and played clarinet, bass clarinet, tenor sax, all through grade school and high school. He also played bass guitar in a jazz lab band and a short-lived band called Dire Wolf. His interest in music led him to Hidden West Recording Studio in Schaumburg, Illinois. We learned the inner workings of studio recording. In 1981, Steve landed an engineering job at Nautilus Television Network in Lake Helen, Florida. And in those days, MTV was just kind of beginning, and Nautilus had a large soundstage for band recordings. And Head East and Boz Scaggs were some of the very first artists that he recorded. Steve also worked on several prominent cable talk shows, one of which featured former FBI agent and convicted Watergate felon conspirator G. Gordon Liddy. I'd love to see those episodes, actually. In 2003, Steve moved from Orlando to Tucson to help care for his elderly parents. He then worked for Rick Rose, our friend of the Rotary Club of Tucson, and Film Creations through 2021 when they closed their doors. Personally, I am forever grateful for Steve and the critical role he played during the pandemic and the Rotary President year of mine. All of the virtual meetings were filmed at Film Creations. Steve spent hours and hours editing the footage and putting them up on the YouTube channel that we never had. We never had a YouTube channel before Steve. On behalf of the Rotary Club of Tucson, we want to say thank you. Steve now works with his son and runs a YouTube channel, ironically, for his son's automotive repair and body shop called U-Wrench. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Rotarians, please help me welcome our newest Paul Harris Fellow, Steve Keppen. Steve, you don't know how we do this, but we give this certificate, which is pretty nice. You can put it in a frame, but we also want to give something of really not much value. And in the history of Paul Harris Fellow presentations, I'm proud that the gift bag is worth more than what's in the gift bag. So given that you are a production guy, I have a bunch of really valuable things. This is a production of Oklahoma on reel-to-reel tape, okay? Congratulations. If you're a Wildcat fan, I have a VHS tape of the Button Salmon story. Still sealed, quite valuable on eBay. I have a Barry Manilow live 8-track. And then finally, Andy Williams' Love Story cassette. So I could not find a CD. Those are the only production value things I could come up with. So from the heart, man, from the heart, okay?
Congratulations. Next up is, where are we? Doug, if I can have you come on up here along with Rich, is Doug Lowell's going to be introducing our newest member. He rejoined the club in November of last year. Southwest Surgical Associates, University of Arizona, and Harvard Medical School. Take it away, Doug.
Well, it's a real pleasure to speak, and I think it's interesting to comment that our club's received some high praise today, and that's why we're all in it, and that's why I'm very proud and happy to introduce a new member, one of my good friends and a long realtor, who, as a segue, made my house purchase 1 year ago extremely easy. So this is Rich Kenny, who I met when I was taking care of him as a physician. And he was my patient, and it's one of the best things about being a doctor is meeting people and learning about them. And one of the things I learned about him on the last visit we had, which was he lived next door to me. Neither of us knew this, and so we became excellent friends, and including my wife Liz, who's here. We've loved knowing Rich and his partner Christian, and when we moved, Liz said to me one day, "I have to buy a house." And I said, "Well, I know that. I know what's going to happen next." And it did. And Rich found us a house, and then he found us another house, and that's what he does. So thank you for that. He's a member of the one of the highest performing real estate teams at Long. It's his parents, Rich Sr. and Gladys, and he. And for example, they recently sold at the highest number ever in El Encanto last year. He has had an interesting life here in Tucson. He came with his parents just before starting U of A. He was a pre-law student, excellent student, and he decided to shake things up. He'd live in Germany as a junior. Went to school in German, got his grades in German, and had to deal with a whole university lifestyle. So he had some German when he left, but that's something that, speaking as a U of A student, trying to keep my grades up, I would have probably been a little bit afraid to do. But Rich wasn't. Another thing he did was decide to live in Yosemite for a summer during his U of A time. And another thing was that he worked for John McCain. So he was in McCain's office, and because of that, actually got a letter from the senator that got him a job in the German Bundestag when he was a college student in Freiburg. So anyway, he graduated, came back. He's traveled extensively, been to 25 countries, especially in Europe in the East Bloc, immediately after the wall came down. He was actually growing up in New Hampshire before that. What I would say about him now is that he believes in tolerance, and he's a hard worker and an excellent person, wants to be involved in Tucson, is a hard worker, and my friend. So one of the last things I'll say is that he's a huge Red Sox fan, and Led Zeppelin is his favorite band.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's been great being a member of the Rotary Club and whatnot, being friends with Doug and Liz. And, you know, as Doug mentioned, it's, you know, believe in the greater common good of all people and, you know, bringing the ideas of different people together, merging them all together and practicing respect and tolerance to each other. So, you know, when I traveled extensively when I was younger, and I realized that most of my travels seemed to occur in these newly minted communist countries, which, you know, and thinking about it, it's, you see these people. I remember walking down in Prague. I saw the Wildcats go to the Final Four there. But, you know, there's this sense of urgency, the fierce urgency of now, like Dr. King spoke about, and just the importance of freedom and democratic values. And, you know, when I studied in Budapest, got my MBA there, that's, you know, a whole nother story. But, yeah, so it's been great being a member of this club, and look forward to meeting more of you. Thank you.
Chris, we have a little bit of money to give away today?
We do. So we have a great raffle here. Renee. I wouldn't bet the house on it, but take your time or people will lose interest. I'm a dad. I mean, this is what I live for. Come on, guys. Look at your things. It's 152178. If that is you, you are the winner. Oh, look at that! Our visiting Rotarian.
You know, he wins the Corvette. He wins the money.
I'll bring money to you. I have $30 that's for you, but if she draws the King of Clubs, you get another 650.
All right, thank you. Next up.
Thanks, Renee.
Past President Mark, number 101. You know, he had mentioned to me, he said, you're going to be blown away when you see the slate of candidates and how anybody's going to make a decision on only choosing 3 is pretty impressive. So, Mark.
Steve, good to see you. By the way, make no mistake about it. He didn't just bail Logan out, but he bailed Jennifer out, and he bailed me out. And he was involved in everything we've done from Centennial on, and not just halfway, all in. Thank you. How's Tuna? That's the dog. Sorry, guys. So in my 30 years at Rotary, and not to take anything away from any other slate for people for the board, but I got to tell you, this is about as tough a slate as I've ever seen as far as just amazing. I'm going to go through everybody. Not everybody is here. If you are here, I'd ask you to stand up and let us recognize you. You will have next week on your place setting a ballot. You get to pick 3 people. Speaking for myself, I got no clue who I'm going to vote for. It's just incredible candidates. First up, Kim Adair. I think everybody knows Kim. Kim, are you here? Kim's not here. Well, Arizona Bowl, I think everybody knows what Kim does. Fairly new to our organization, will just be outstanding if selected. Next up, Nicole Lombardo. Nicole's not here. I know she's out of town, but again, a fairly new member and very involved in real estate and other things. Next up, David Lovett. I don't think David's here either. Man, we're not doing well, are we? People are on holiday. By the way, a lot of this is because we moved the dates up a little bit, so to take care of some stuff on national. But David Lovett is another one of the candidates. Next up, I know she's not here, Diana Medeiros. We're going to get somebody eventually. I do know we have one person here. I don't want to mention his name, but I do know he's here, or 2 people actually. So Diana Medeiros is the other one. Mitch Piesick. Finally, Mitch, thank you for standing up. And then last but by no means least, that amazing Nina Tresaw. That's your list of candidates. Look forward to how it all turns out next week. Thank you.
Just real quick announcement for those of you that weren't here last week is I had looking to do Miles of Memories is we've got some flyers on the registration table. As I mentioned, I'm hoping to wander over 2,000 miles this year. Would love for you to consider sponsoring me for Bob. What do you think? Maybe the year? Sound good? Or a couple of Paul Harris's. But your funds can go to the foundation. It can go to whatever you want it to go to, as long as it's within Rotary. So Hugh Thompson is believe that you have a blue badge to be able to announce.
I'm very happy to welcome Doug Lowell into the club with his blue badge. He's from a pioneer family. He's a cowboy with cows down by the border. He's a pediatric cardiac vascular surgeon. His inspiration and direction made our club's huge 5-year project, Proyecto Amanecer in Hermosillo, Mexico, the huge success that it was. And he gave hundreds of Sonoran kids with congenital heart disease the opportunity to lead a normal life.
Right on.
He's a do-something guy. He'll make this club proud. He's already had his first introduction of a new member. Please welcome Doug Lowell.
Thank you very much.
Well said.
Yeah, this is perfect because last week we were running a little bit long, and no pun intended. And this week we've got a little time, so this is where all of a sudden past presidents will recognize this. Doreena's going to go, oh, wait a second, this isn't on the agenda. He's going off script. My God, this is the second week, and this president is already failing us. So I have something. I want to have some fun this year. And I'm not exactly sure what we're going to call it. I don't know whether we're going to call it Wild, Wacky, Weird Wednesday or we'll figure out something. But you know how in March we end up doing, March Madness, everybody's wearing U of A gear and nobody thinks anything of it, or February, people dress up for the rodeo. So we're going to have these, kind of wild, weird, wacky Wednesdays. And they're not necessarily going to be the same Wednesday of every month. It's going to depend on what the theme is. I do know the theme next month. It's going to be some kind of a beach Hawaiian theme. But next week is I want to have a blue out. We've got the new chief of police that's going to be here. So I want for people to come and remember to wear blue for when he comes in. But we're going to have some fun with this, especially, now going into work, people might look at you and you're wearing a blue shirt, no big deal, right? But if all of a sudden, next month, you come walking in and you're wearing like a Hawaiian shirt, and maybe you've got your Rotary pin on the lapel, and people are going to be like, I'm used to seeing you like wearing a tie or a blouse, or, what's with the Hawaiian shirt? And it'll give you the opportunity to talk about Rotary and how much fun we end up having. So we're going to have a different theme every month, and I hope that as many of you are going to be able to participate in that as you possibly can. So now, in order to be able to wrap up, scholarship cups are on the tables. For those of you that don't donate regularly, I hope you might consider putting a couple of dollars into those cups. Remember to return your badges. We had plenty of guests this week. It was great to see that kind of a turnout. And if you like what you saw, I hope you'll consider talking to us and maybe consider becoming a member. Happy birthday to Angela, Dave, and Diana. Congratulations, Steve, on your Paul Harris. Welcome to the club, Rich. Doug, congratulations. As I mentioned, Chad Kazmar, the chief of police, is going to be here next week as our speaker. And if we can stand to have a toast to adjourn. Like most things in life, real estate has its ups and downs, but no one has ever lost money in real estate that didn't have to sell. To quote a few and remind you that real estate is the single best investment a person can make, is Mark Twain said, buy land they're not making anymore. Will Rogers says, don't wait to buy real estate and wait. And last, Louis Glickman, who I have to admit I don't know who Louis is his quote was, the best investment on earth is earth. Hear, hear. We're adjourned.